Ask someone on the street to name a Honda, and they will say Civic, maybe Accord. Those are the cars Honda is famous for in the broadest sense: reliable, affordable, sensible. That reputation is deserved, but it is also incomplete. Honda did not build its engineering soul on the Civic. It built it on what the Civic was designed to teach: that a small, lightweight car with a brilliant engine, in the hands of a driver who understood what they had, could beat almost anything on a road that twisted and turned. Above that, Civic sat a whole hierarchy of machines, each one more focused and more rewarding than the last. This is that hierarchy. Every rung, every reason it exists. The Civic has been in continuous production since 1972. In its earliest form, it was economical transportation built for a world recovering from an oil crisis. But the Civic's significance to enthusiasts has never been about economy. It is about what Honda did with the platform over decades, inserting its most exciting engineering ideas into a family hatchback until VTEC arrived and turned humble Civics into machines that screamed to 9,000 RPM and made drivers feel like they were operating racing machinery on a public road. The Civic Type-R is the fullest expression of that philosophy. It arrived in Japan in 1997 on the EK9 chassis, stripped of sound deadening, fitted with a close ratio gearbox, and producing 185 horsepower from 1.6 liters in a car that weighed barely over 1,000 kilograms. Understanding what a Civic Type-R feels like, what it demands, what it rewards, that is the entry point to understanding what Honda actually believes a car should be. The Integra occupied a specific position in Honda's lineup for 2 decades. Larger than the Civic, but more focused than the Accord, sitting in a space Honda created for drivers who had outgrown the Civic without wanting to lose what made it worth loving. The DC2 chassis Integra Type-R, built from 1993 to 2001, is where the nameplate earned its permanent reputation. Honda's engineers stripped it obsessively. No rear wiper, thinner glass, reduced sound deadening, hand-polished intake ports, and a limited slip differential fitted to the front axle at a time when that was nearly unheard of on a production front-wheel drive car. The B18C engine produced 197 horsepower in a car weighing barely 1,100 kilograms. Ayrton Senna reportedly drove a DC2 Type-R at Honda's test track. The engineers were not surprised by his reaction. They had built a car that communicated through the steering wheel, pedals, and seat with a clarity that more powerful and more expensive cars rarely achieved. That clarity, the sense of receiving honest, complete information about what the car is doing at all times, is the Integra Type-R's lasting contribution to how the world thinks about what a sports car needs to be. The Prelude ran for 5 generations between 1978 and 2001. By its 4th generation, it had become a technology showcase, introducing 4-wheel steering, Honda's 4WS system, that adjusted the rear wheels in response to steering inputs to improve both high-speed stability and low-speed agility. The 5th generation added an active torque transfer system that distributed power hydraulically between the front wheels under cornering loads, reducing understeer and allowing the driver to carry more speed through corners than the front-wheel drive layout would otherwise permit. The H22 VTEC engine produced over 200 horsepower in certain configurations. When the Prelude was canceled in 2001, it left a gap Honda has never quite filled. A car for buyers who wanted more than the Civic could offer, but were not ready for the NSX. The S2000 arrived in 1999 as Honda's 50th anniversary statement. This is what we believe a sports car should be. The F2OC engine was its argument. 2.0 liters, naturally aspirated, producing 240 horsepower at a specific output of 120 horsepower per liter, the highest of any naturally aspirated production engine in the world at the time of launch. Below 6,000 revolutions per minute, the engine was willing but calm. Above 6,000, when VTEC engaged its high lift cam profile, everything changed. The power curve steepened, the exhaust note shifted, and the car felt physically transformed in a way drivers still talk about decades later. The chassis matched the engine's intentions. Front midship layout for genuine weight balance, double wishbone suspension at all four corners, a 6-speed close ratio, gearbox, steering that communicated road texture through the rim in a way modern. Systems have largely abandoned. The S2000 was not a car that did things for you. It trusted you to know what you were asking for, and it did exactly that. The NSX launched in 1990 with an audacious premise that a Japanese manufacturer could build a mid-engine supercar competitive with Ferrari on performance, superior on reliability, and available for roughly half the price. Ferrari engineers reportedly purchased early examples to take apart. Porsche studied it. The press received it with the kind of stunned praise that only appears when something exceeds every expectation. Built around an all-aluminum monocoque chassis, an industry first for a production car, and developed with direct input from Ayrton Senna, who drove development prototypes and specified changes to the steering geometry and suspension before the car reached production. The 3.0-liter DOHC VTEC V6 produced 270 horsepower in Japanese domestic form. The numbers were competitive. The point was how they were delivered, with the transparency and accessibility that Ferrari's mid-engine cars of the era rarely offered. The NSX remained in production until 2005, revised gradually, but never fundamentally changed, because Honda understood the original was close enough to correct that protecting it mattered more than chasing updated specifications. Most car companies separate their affordable cars from their performance cars entirely. Different divisions, different philosophies, different engineering teams with no shared language. Honda never did that. The Civic and the NSX were built by the same people, guided by the same belief, and designed to sit on the same ladder. That is not a coincidence. It is the most deliberate product strategy in JDM history. Honda has the most recognizable brand ladder in the Japanese automotive world. And the remarkable thing is that most fans, even devoted ones, only know a few of its rungs. The full spine runs clean and unbroken, Civic to Integra, to Accord, to Prelude, to S2000, to NSX. Each step up that ladder is an increase in focus, in demand, and in the reward waiting for the driver who is ready for it. No other manufacturer has built a hierarchy this coherent, this complete, or this intentional across such a wide price range. That is why the $25,000 Civic and the $200,000 NSX are not contradictions. They are the same sentence spoken at different volumes. The Civic says, "Here is what driving can feel like when a car is built honestly." The NSX says, "Here is what that honesty looks like when there are no compromises left to make." Every car between them is a rung on a ladder that Honda built deliberately over decades for drivers who are willing to keep climbing. This is also why Honda's hierarchy matters beyond the enthusiast community. It is the definitive explainer for anyone entering the JDM world for the first time. A clear narrative spine that turns a confusing brand into a coherent story. Civic to NSX is not just a product lineup. It is a philosophy made visible. A roadmap from accessible to extraordinary. A curriculum that has been teaching drivers what a car can truly be since 1972, one rung at a time.